welcome back to this week's episodes of Budget Boss.
Crunching
numbers.
I'm your host, Clark.
I'm your host, Jared.
Clark and Jared's Budget Bossing.
And this week we'll be calculating and also talking about tax season.
What do you think people should be spending their most of their money on this upcoming tax season? What should they really put their money into when they get their tax return?
You know, here on Budget Boss,
listen, it's going to be a beautiful tax return with Trump. So we need to figure out what we're putting our money towards.
True. That's true.
Where are we going?
But on Budget Boss,
yeah,
we always recommend
that's
to budget
right.
that money.
We do. You're right, Graham. But if we could spend it somewhere, do you have a secret place? A secret place where it all would go?
I would probably... Honestly, no.
No?
Like right now, I can't think of a damn thing that I want to spend money on.
You are boring.
Yeah. Maybe like lots of... Never mind. I'm not going to say that on the podcast.
Oh, hey. Getting risque. Oh.
Risque. Anyway. No, we got you. This isn't Budget Bosses. It's actually 20-somethings.
We're not really Clark and Jared.
Sorry for everybody that tuned in to the fake show. This week on 20-somethings, well, actually, let me just start by saying this. It's been a long day for me. So if it's a bit of low energy on this episode, I apologize. I woke up this morning in Portugal. I was literally across the ocean this morning. And I flew back to New York.
Excuses.
I flew into Newark. I got here around 3:30, and I got back to the studio, the apartment, around 4:35. So it's been a long day.
And what time is it there right now?
Let's see. So it's not super late. It's like 1:30. My brain's on 1:30 time.
So that's late. To be recording a podcast, that's late. Yeah. So just give a round of applause right now if you're listening to Mr. Grant Crawford being here all the way from Portugal. Yes.
They flew me in. Yeah.
They flew me in.
As they do. They fly me everywhere these days. It's hard. Like sometimes I'm like, I just want to drive, and they're like, no, we're flying you.
No.
I'm like, all right.
You want to go to the store? Nah. Helicopter, bro.
Yeah.
Get in.
If that's what you're into.
They don't got a helipad?
Anyway, so now I landed today in Newark. And I took my phone off of airplane mode.
This is a fun one.
And I, did the routine, checked Instagram, checked other social medias. Then I checked my email. And I had a great email that I look forward to every month, which is your Con Edison bill is ready. Now, if you don't live in New York, Con Edison is really the only electric provider you can have. You can have others, but pretty much everybody has Con Edison.
It's pretty much a monopoly.
It's a monopoly.
It's a monopoly.
So yeah, it's our electric bill. And Keith and I live in a duplex apartment that's on the first floor of a building in Brooklyn. So it's the basement and the first floor of the building. Now, it's great. It's a lot of space. We have the whole studio here. It works out really well.
Honestly, everything else about this apartment,
it's perfect.
We absolutely love.
Yeah, we have tons of space. It's actually pretty amazing.
Yeah, we got to steal.
But in the winters, it is awful.
Yep.
It is. We might as well be living in an igloo. We might as well be eating whale blubber for the winter. Like
we walk upstairs last year was really bad with everything with the winter storm last year. And
that's true. But we don't know. That could happen again this week.
It could. Yeah. But we were walking last year. I remember getting upstairs in the morning. You're creeping upstairs and you step on the hardwood and it was ice cold.
It's awful. You get up and you're in your pajamas and you're running around upstairs because you literally can't. You can't spend more than 15 seconds and you could see your breath.
Yeah,
it's that cold. You could see your breath
inside.
Now, this would not be a problem. However, we don't necessarily have an adequate way to heat our apartment.
Right.
And it's something we've been talking to our management company about for years now, because the thing with our building is the heating it's not central heating. It runs through our electric.
It's not even that it's not central heating. It's not central heating, but it's also not water heating.
Yeah,
there's no
it's
piping
just electric.
System.
It's just plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
It's heating through electric, which, if you know anything about electric bills, fucks you.
Yep.
Really, really hardcore. So every year, all summer, we're great. It's we get our bills. They're like $80, like $100. No problem. We split it half and half. It's like nothing. December rolls around. Our bills actually creep up to $300, $400, $500. And then today, a very special day, I landed in America and I got this. This is the first email I opened when I got back to America today. $672 Con Edison electric bill.
Oh, it makes me cringe.
Let's think about that, people. Now, when I first graduated college, I was paying $700 a month for rent.
For rent.
And now, that's my electric bill for 30 days. Now, this is abnormal. There's something wrong with our building, and we have to get to the bottom of it. We have to talk to our management company. We have to. All of you listeners need to call and complain or something. I don't know. We got to figure it out. So,
buildings on our behalf.
Granted, it's not normal, but it's an issue. And when I got home, Keith and I were talking, and we were just like, "Fuck, this sucks. This is an unexpected amount of money that we don't really want to pay. Right. And we'll sort it out. It's fine. It's not like we don't have the money. It's just, but we got just talking about.
Well, we got
what to do in these situations and like.
And where do you pull that money from? Like it's hard to, I mean, not to quote the title, but it's hard to budget, figure out.
It's definitely hard to be a budget boss.
Yeah,
but thankfully we're pretty bossy. We have certificates in budget bossing.
We should add another beat in the beginning. It should be the bitchy budget bosses.
Yeah, but if you're a budget boss, you're not bitchy. You're like cool. You're calm.
No. But like on the inside, you're a little bitchy. You
Yeah,
get shit done.
Yeah,
you get shit done if you're a budget boss.
But you're not bitchy. You're like, you're badass. You're badass budget boss.
Oh, so the badass budget bosses.
Yeah, because you're not giving in to like the little temptations of spending money everywhere. That makes you pretty badass because it's difficult. Anyway.
So budgeting.
So we got this massive electric bill.
Yep.
$672. Also, if you want to donate to our Patreon, it's patreon.com/soundpollination.
Help us out. Any donation keeps us in an apartment.
I'm so cold. But yeah, so and whenever something like this happens, I think naturally the first thing anybody would do if they're hit with a big bill for anything or like an unexpected expense is you go and check your bank account and
make sure you're good.
Yeah. And luckily I've always been pretty good at that. Like it's just something that I think comes naturally because I don't feel a pressure to budget. It's sort of just something I do and I've always done. Yeah. Since you know me, I mean, like, you remember when we lived in college, I would literally like save coins and like pay for shit in coins.
Your financial life in college was so funny. I always still describe the way you got through college was you were gonna work for like 3 months hardcore at a job and then not work for like months on end. But you were so good.
That's how I learned how to budget.
He's the best at budgeting I've ever seen. He can like figure out a way to make $100 last in 3 months. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think a big thing with knowing how to budget money or put away money or how much you should be spending is you have to get over the fear of looking at your bank account. I think that's a fear that a lot of people have. I think a lot of people don't like to open up their app or go online, however they do it.
It's like
they don't like seeing those numbers.
They think that they can just. I mean, they don't think this because it's not realistic, but they just kind of push away reality and think that they can kind of just float in this pretend world of I have all this money, and it's like eventually you're gonna have to come to terms. It's not even that
like I have all this money. It's like I don't want to look at the amount of money I have.
Well, I don't want to look at the damage I'm doing. There's some sort of
like paranoia or like anxiety of like looking at one's bank account.
I had that. I mean, I think a lot of people have that.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people have that, and I think that's like totally damaging to any budgeting plan.
Right.
You can't budget unless you know how much money you have.
Right. And how much you're pulling in and how much you're pushing out right now.
Here's the thing. Whether you look at your bank account or not, that's how much money you have. If you're not looking at it, it doesn't change the reality of it.
I used to. No, it doesn't change the reality. Exactly. You're living in that same reality. It's all psychological.
It's like, oh, if I don't look at it, maybe I have more money than I actually have. It's like, no matter what, whether you're looking at it or not, those numbers are going up or they're going down.
Right. It's funny. I used to always like write out my budget. I've probably written out like different budgets like at least 20 times throughout the past like 8 years of living in New York City, just writing it out over and over and over again. And regardless of how many times I write that thing out, I still, throughout all that, I haven't written one in forever, but through all that time, wouldn't check my bank account. So it's like I'm making these budgeting things as if I know how much money I already have. And I don't, because I don't want to live in the reality of, oh, you can't afford that in your budget, and you can't afford that in your budget.
Yeah, see, no, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Like that's the best way to do it, because if you're not brutally honest, then you're going to end up spending more money. Because something's going to be inflated. Yeah. You're going to inflate something, or you're going to forget about something, or like
living in this city, or I think in a city in general, makes it really hard to budget. Not that it's impossible. Because, well, specifically New York, you can get, it's hard for, I guess it's hard for college kids to budget, because you can get anything at any time. And we've never been taught how to be responsible for our own finances. Like throughout high school, we were never taught, unless you had a parent that, was really savvy with that sort of thing. I was never taught to balance a checkbook. I was never taught to any of that. Even just simple budgeting was never taught how to manage my own money. And okay, this is how much you have, and you can't really do much after that, and we were never taught that. So we're all of a sudden thrown into college where either we got a job or mom and dad are paying for all of our shit, and we just throw our money at whatever happens. I remember I was working a job 30 hours a week, but I would still have zero money because all of that cash would just go to different food that I would eat throughout the week because I didn't want to cook for myself. And it's like stupid little things like that. They don't seem like a lot of money, but if you're not careful, it's going to catch right up to you.
Like, as much as like being honest and like taking the time to just open your bank account and see how much money you have, like be aware of what you're spending money on. I kind of get what you're saying now. Like in the city, like you can just go from here to the subway and it's so easy to swipe your card within that 5-minute walk,
that walk.
Because it's not like you're getting in a car and you're driving to work. Like you're walking by store and store and store. You're seeing things in the window and you're getting different scents in your face. You're getting some pizza up in that nose.
Oh, there's a coffee. I didn't have my coffee this morning. I'm gonna grab a coffee. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta go to Dwayne Reed. I know I gotta hit that store before I get home. So I'm going there now.
Yeah, you have to be. There is some discipline that comes with it for sure. A lot of discipline.
It's all discipline. It's like primarily discipline.
I feel like there's like a fine line though, right? Because it's like you don't want to be so serious about budgeting your funds that you have no fun at all or no pleasure. It's just like you have to find, like, maybe it's particular to each person. Like maybe like the amount of money that you want is just specific to you, like whatever you're comfortable with. I don't know.
Well, you gotta. It's funny because I was just reading an article before we sat down that was talking about like, and I didn't really agree with the article. I can't remember what it was called, but I didn't really agree with the article at all. It was just like kind of inflating the idea of budgeting to be this like romanticized thing. It's like, no, it's just budget your money, right? But the way, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see. Do I have it?
I mean, I kind of think of it as like a game.
Budgeting?
Yeah.
It is kind of a game. It's a balance thing. You got to be able to balance like.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's all a numbers game.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what it was that this article said. It's not really important.
I even challenged myself to see if like I can guess the exact amount that I have in my bank account, like down to the dollar.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm often pretty close.
Yeah.
Like that's how well I know it.
Yeah. You're really good at it. I had a hard time in college with like ordering food out. You get home at 10 o'clock and you don't want to cook. Yeah. So you order food out, and then the next thing you know, that's $15 right there. If you're getting it delivered, that's $15. And then you do that a few times a week, that's your money's gone.
That's a big one in the city. I would say
you got to like prioritize. This is what the article was talking about. Now it just came back to me. You got to be able to prioritize the most essential things in your budget first. So let's just wipe it clean at zero, right? Like our budget is zero. We're not going to put any money to anything. Let's start at a base. What is our most essential thing? The thing that either brings us the most happiness or is the most essential in our lives. So shelter, water, food. Okay, so shelter, we got to put that money aside every month. We know that. Okay, food, how much do I spend on food? I know I got to have that. Water, we're good on that, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're in Flint, Michigan, which I apologize to you if you are. Fucking terrible. But then, like, what's important, is, like, the gym membership more important than the coffee? Or do you like sitting at the coffee shop doing your work, and that's more important, to have that coffee a day and be able to sit there?
Yeah.
You got to be able to figure out, like, what is important to you.
Totally. Yeah, when I map out my budget, it's actually quite simple. Like, well, it is and it isn't. So I have, like, I make a spreadsheet, which is really helpful. If you don't know how to use Excel, you should totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you just said, it's like you build from the ground up, right? Like a pyramid, like the fundamentals at the bottom, and then you build up to the more specific shit.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the first one's rent.
Right.
If you're renting a place.
Right.
So first one, rent.
Mortgage, whatever.
Yeah, rent. And then I think I have bills on top of that.
Yep.
And then I have Metro card, so transportation. God, what else do I have?
Do you have
loans, student loans.
Student loans, yep, that's another one. That's another big one.
Yeah, so it gets to a point where I have like 4 or 5 things before I get into anything that's just like non-essential.
Right. Do you put food in the essentials, or do you not?
Yeah,
put food?
yeah, of course.
Like groceries.
But food's tricky to like pin down. Like I'm not like I give it like a rough estimate.
It's funny with food because I give it like I'm gonna spend only $250 on food this month. Okay.
Yeah.
You end up spending like $150 more than that in like food ordered out and shit and just.
Yeah. See, I'm not like that. Like I'm not like that.
You're
I would
much better
never. I could never spend that much money on food. Like even when I go grocery shopping, I'm pretty. How good much at do you usually spend? Down.
How much do you usually spend grocery shopping for one person? I mean. Let's be real. I spend now because let me get this straight. I don't eat out nearly as much as I used to. I'm not like the guy that doesn't cook for himself.
I'm not the guy I used to be.
I'm different. Take me back.
Take me back. I don't eat out as much as I used to. I know how much you hated that. I never had any money. I was fat.
Oh, those quesadillas. Not anymore, babe. Not for you. Anyway, I know I cook all the time. I'm always cooking food, but I don't know where that was going.
Just throwing in
I'm always
qualities about
cooking
yourself.
Food, everything, meat, veggies, got it all. No, but I'm not like as throwaway with my money as I was, and I think you learn that over time. I think that's like in college or when you're, like I said, when you're a kid, it's so easy to just boop. I'm throwing money away.
I think you also, a lot of people have to, and this is just from my own experience of interacting with people. So one, like I said before, I think a lot of people are afraid of looking at their bank account.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I think a lot of people have a inaccurate idea of what's expensive versus inexpensive. You know what I mean?
Explain. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is like somebody might be like, well, why not get takeout? It's so cheap. It's only like $12.
Oh, they don't have like a real sense of what $12 actually does to their bank account.
Well, like that, or like what that $12 could be converted into and
right.
used in other ways, or like, especially like we were saying, like, this is all based in a city. What $12 equates outside of a city? What's one meal in a city? Outside of a city could be 2-3 meals at restaurants, like depending on where you are.
Food is like
so because being in the city, it distorts what's expensive and what's not.
Right.
And granted that there's a little bit of inflation in that because, like, yes, like for the most part, people make more money in the city, but not really enough, I would say, for it to be a thing where it's like, oh, well, the meal's $15. Like, that's reasonable.
Yeah, most people make a lot more money in the city, true. But a lot of Americans, even though they don't live in cities, because cities are now, you look at somewhere like Boston is almost just as expensive as New York.
Yeah.
Austin, Texas is expensive as hell. San Francisco is more expensive than New York.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is, all these cities are getting expensive, So you can't like... And then there's more people living in the suburbs that are also spending that money or raking in that money from the city and having a city job and the amount of money that comes with that, but then living in the suburb, so it's funny. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how much are you saying that financial situations have a lot to do with the way that I don't know.
All I'm saying is that people have they're confused about what is expensive versus inexpensive.
Yeah.
So people have ideas, and it could be from where they're from, where they live, or like how their family spent money, and they just hold on to these ideas, and then they find themselves developing these spending habits because they don't understand. Like, to me, for example, $15 is an expensive meal,
right,
for one meal. To me,
yep.
For somebody else who's making the same amount of money who has or who makes the same amount of money as I do,
but living,
they might think $15 is a totally fine amount of money to spend on one meal,
even if they're living in the city. You're saying,
yeah,
okay.
That's what I'm saying. So people have these ideas, and then they wonder why they don't have any money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because they're spending money, not realizing that what they're spending money on is actually expensive.
Right. Well, I mean, because maybe it's the automation of it all. But we've become so. I've become
the
so
automation
used to,
definitely plays into it.
Yeah, I'm so used to just hitting seamless on my phone and not even thinking about the $12. Like, it's not like I'm handing $12 in cash.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking about that transaction. I'm putting my thumb on my phone and boop.
Yeah,
seamless is okay. My food's gonna be here in an hour.
Right, and that's totally a part in it. It
yeah,
makes it really so that plays into like it makes it really easy to lose track of what you're doing because a click is it's almost like in inaction. Like you're doing virtually nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, so there's no memory of walking to the store or doing anything like that, right? It's just like a click. Like you might as well not do anything.
There's no time or physical value in what you're actually doing as well as the monetary value.
Right. So why would you remember? Why would you think anything of it? Like a click is such a meaningless little motion. Like how can that equate to dollars?
Right.
You
and
know?
they make it so easy for you to do too.
Right.
And they keep making it easier and easier.
Right. And it
makes sense. Right.
That's the point. And it on some, it is convenient, but it can definitely have a downside.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, they don't teach, at least they didn't teach us. I know our parents learned it, but they don't teach personal finance in school at all. And I think if people just had any semblance of how to budget your own money and keep track of yourself at all from a young age, a lot of issues wouldn't be a thing.
I mean, I know so many people. I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Like, when you graduated high school, did you know how to write a check? A lot of people did not know how to write a check.
I knew, but only because of the job that I had. I remember I had a checkbook from Citizens Bank. I remember like writing checks out. I think my parents forced me to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
My dad did have me do that. They never had me balance a checkbook, although my dad still religiously, goes by his checkbook.
Really?
Never. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. There are a lot of people that still do that.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm like, why don't you just look at your statement online?
Yeah.
Like, it's right there. But I don't know. He still does it. But yeah, I think like when you're so young, you're so easy to kind of manipulate, and it's so easy to just get like lost in what you're in. You don't. There's no semblance. It's like kids that go to college that are living off their parents' money, right? There's no semblance of what that money actually means, tangibly. And now with the addition of I'm going to put my finger on my phone and now I've got food being delivered to my door, those two things mixed together, you really have no idea what this money actually is. You know, you're getting it. Add another layer, you're getting it directly deposited into your bank account, so you're not even getting a check that says how much you're getting.
Right.
If you don't check your statement, you don't even know how much you made that month.
Right.
All of these digital things, while they might be so great in terms of processing speed and being able to do transactions quickly and from far away, there's also the downside of people are losing the idea of what money actually means.
Just as easy as it makes it more difficult to keep track of your money, it also makes it super easy to keep track of your money.
Right.
It can go one or two ways. It just depends on how you use it.
And super easy to budget.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's an app for that, but there's budgeting apps that are actually really great.
Yeah.
And they work really well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I tried to use Mint. Like, I have it. I think I still have it on my phone, and I don't use it.
I use Mint.
I have it, and like it's my accounts are linked up to it, but I don't look at it.
I check my Mint at least like once a week now.
Yeah. I'm
pretty good about it. But if you don't know what Mint is, it basically it's a budgeting app, but you set all of your budget limits and everything. You can hook up all of your bank accounts, your credit cards, your loan accounts. So if you have like a student loan or anything, you can hook that up there. You can hook up savings accounts that are through like apps. So if you have Acorns, the app Acorns, you can hook up that through there. How much money you're investing, all of your investments. You can hook up like car investments or car loans.
Well, that's the one feature I do like about it is that if you have like a broker's account or like
it's all your assets.
Or it's all your assets.
All your assets.
It'll list like actually like the amount of money total that you have.
Right.
Which is nice to see, to have it all in one place. Otherwise, you're logging into a bunch of different apps to check it out.
One thing that I love about it is that it will tell you, like, I'll get a notification. It'll be like, you spent $200 and something less on food and dining this month. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then on the flip side, it'll be like, you spent $200 more on food and dining. And I'm like,
I don't really like about it is, one, I feel like even if I set a budget in Mint, I don't think it would affect how I spend money.
Well, that's
unless it was able to
not false.
Right, exactly.
It's not false.
It's not enough pressure to get a notification saying, "Oh," because you're just gonna self-justify.
You got caught with your hand in the cookie jar,
right?
You know?
Like, who cares if your cell phone sends you a notification? You're just gonna justify it, like to yourself in that moment, like, "Oh, you don't understand it."
Right.
Like,
it was a hard month. I needed that burger.
Something that might be helpful is if it could somehow work in a way where it's like you have a coffee budget of $50 a month or whatever, and once you hit that number, it
shuts off
purchasing. But that wouldn't be possible.
No, I've thought about that before. That would be awesome. It would be really great if, like, okay, you can only spend it, and you go to a restaurant, and if you can't pay, you got to figure it out. But it would just never.
You gotta figure it out. You're gonna be cleaning dishes all night.
You better ask the guy next to
you. Yeah. You better walk down the street and start begging.
Get on your knees.
Oh, boy. For what, Keith? For what?
To beg. That's what beggars do.
Oh. Do they?
They get on there. Please, sir.
Oh, okay.
Some change.
Get on your knees and walk down the street. I want to see
Shimmy.
I want to see you waddle on your knees.
I want scars coming from those knees. All right.
Anyway.
We're back on it now.
So I wonder how then, like, people who have... It's weird. It's like, but when you talk to some people that you're like, you can see that they're spending a lot of money, and you might say something to them. Like, it's really hard to break people out of like their spending habits. Like, it's almost like it becomes like a part of their personality. They're like, no, it's fine. Like, this is just how I do it.
You see, but like, if you think about it realistically, though, right? Like, me and you, like, we just keep talking about food because that's what we spend our money on. What do people spend besides food? I know clothes.
I think a lot of people spend money on having
shoes.
A good time.
That's true too.
I would say a lot of people in their 20s, and I don't want to, generalize, but this is just from my observation. I think a ton of people spend money on drinking and other drugs.
Yeah.
I just
Fair.
think, and like drinking, other drugs, going out, partying, doing stuff like that. Dates can be really expensive.
True.
So I think it's like having like pleasure, like going out and having a good time. Like, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Now, I think you and I go to food because we don't do anything like that.
Right.
Like, I don't go out and drink ever. The only time I might go out and drink is like if I want to have like a beer, to like catch up with somebody, or just like hang out.
Right.
But I can't remember the last time I went out and had like more than 3 beers, and even that was like, I was like, whoa, Grant, calm down, man. I just so to me, in my personal like bank in my head, that's a waste of money. To some people, it's not. To some people, that's not a waste of money. That's
the 3
totally
beers,
valid.
Like going out for beers.
Yeah, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's so
some people,
personal.
that's what they get their money for.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like
it's a personality thing,
right? And
but
is that bad if it's giving that person happiness? I feel like it's only bad if that person's also complaining that they have no money.
Well, or just complaining about. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but okay, so that's kind of going out. So we've satisfied that one. Going out, I can understand that, right? Like, I can understand why you would spend your money on going out, why you would be a little bit more kind of, I'm just going to throw whatever money I want at this because that's what I enjoy doing. We enjoy food.
Yeah.
So we spend our money on food all the time. But then there are people that like I know people that will drop hundreds of dollars. I'm talking hundreds of dollars. Let me say it one more time. Hundreds of dollars on a pair of shoes. Like,
that's nuts.
Like $500 to $1,000
That's crazy.
On a pair of shoes.
See, that's it again. It's just like,
but okay, fine, sure.
To them, why do they like what?
If that brings you happiness, sure. But what?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, I feel bad because I don't want to critique what fulfills somebody.
Right. But I just don't. I guess it doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
And
that's why I feel like
it's fine.
I feel like that's why it's hard to have conversations about money with people.
Right.
Because like that imaginary person who's spending $500 on shoes, if you say, "Hey man, that's a waste of money. That's a really stupid thing to spend money on,"
mm-hmm.
they might get like really hurt or offended.
No, yeah, right.
What if you take away their shoes and they have nothing else? Like that. Like seriously, like
it's like they collect shoes. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. It's hard to understand. I guess it's hard to understand what other people spend money on.
My rule is with people and their money habits is like, I don't give a fuck what you spend money on.
Just don't complain to me.
Right. But if you're spending money on stupid shit and I hear you complain about it, that don't fly with me.
Right.
I don't like that. Like that bothers me for some reason because I don't know. I think it's just like so hypocritical.
Or people that that will spend money on, like, let's say you're in a relationship, right? And you spend a ton of money on yourself. Like, you're always just buying all sorts of fucking junk food and you're buying video games for yourself and everything. But then you never take your girlfriend out.
Well, then you're just a loser.
Well, but then like you complain about your girlfriend being mad about you never go, and it's like, look at what you're doing here, bro. Like prioritize. Again, what is the essentials? Well, I think a relationship is probably an essential thing. I would hope if you're in it.
Right.
So that's a priority. You got, and is it more of a priority to you than junk food?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that out.
Everybody's got such blind spots. I don't know why that is. Like, why is it so easy for people to develop blind spots when it comes to budgeting and spending money?
Blind spot, as in, what do you mean by blind spots?
Like they don't like what you just said. Like, oh, you're spending all your money over here when you could be spending it here. Like, and you're complaining about it when just a quick like calibrating of those funds, you could solve that issue that you're trying to solve.
Right.
And it's simple, but like there's like it doesn't, it's like right over their head. It's like, I don't understand. Like, I don't have the money for this. Meanwhile, yesterday he bought like $100 worth of
But I think people like that, it's like, you do understand. You get it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think a lot of people don't. I've had to watch so many people like blindly spend money, I feel like, all the time.
It's almost like spending the money is the addiction. Like, just the idea. It's almost like swiping the card has become an addiction.
Yeah, well, I think in some sense it is like it's going back to what fulfills you. If it fulfills you, then it's giving you like a sense of happiness, or you feel content for a moment, or status. Yeah, definitely trying to like signal something in some capacity. Right. That, I think that's a big one too.
Yep.
The signaling with like what you spend your money on.
Right.
Because like
I'm gonna spend
there is a population outside of that one guy who bought the $500 shoes. There's then another population, a wider population,
that are going to admire him.
Are going to be like, whoa.
Right.
Those are those $500 shoes I wanted.
You have them. You must be an amazing person.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, he's just bad at budgeting.
Right. He doesn't really know what he's spending his money on.
He's just not a budget boss.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get it.
He doesn't get the bossness. Yeah,
so that's another huge thing. It's like, and I get that, I can understand that sort of with certain things. Like, I spend a decent amount of money on a nice apartment because when people come over, I want them not, and this isn't the sole reason. It's more for me than this, but a part of it is like, I want people to see that I live in a nice place.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that's why our rent is a little bit more.
Right.
Than
well,
what
that's
it used
another
to be.
thing. That's another thing
but
too.
But we're there we are prioritizing our rent and our living situation. We could be spending the $700 that we were spending before deeper in Brooklyn, not living in as nice of an area.
Yeah.
Not living in, as nice of an apartment with 2 different floors. We could be spending that. But since from when we started at 0 in our budget, the first thing is, okay, we're going to make sure that a good chunk of our money is going to rent.
Yeah.
That's fine, but be okay with the fact that that is what you're throwing your money at.
Yeah.
And
to be completely honest, like, for me, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I
do you remember when we lived
about rent?
Do you remember when we lived? We don't.
Yeah.
When we lived over in that other place, and we used to talk about how like we gotta get out of here. We gotta find a better living situation.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't mind spending more if it was a better living situation. Yada yada. And then like we did get this, and neither of us have ever. Besides the heat. The heat is the only
but
thing.
That's separate.
It's separate.
I don't include that in
No,
the rent.
it has nothing to
like
do
an
with it.
Error with the building that needs to be fixed.
Right.
And
Other
it's
than
screwing
that,
us. Yeah.
Other than that, we've never complained about it. And that shows that like the prioritization of the rent and that making us happier, like living in a better situation. We sound like we're fucking married. It made it like literally made us like it made us happier, so that we don't have a problem with it.
That's like going back to building the foundation. That's just like if you're gonna spend money on something, spend money on something that's gonna give you a solid base.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So to me, spending money on something as fundamental as a nice living space is absolutely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't go overboard. You know, you don't want to be spending like 75% of your income on your rent.
Right.
But, you know,
be smart.
Like a lot of people, especially like our age and like a little younger, like I remember a couple years ago, like when we first graduated school, everybody's just trying to find the cheapest rent.
Right.
Which makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're just getting out of college. It's really hard these days to make like a decent income
Yep.
right out of college.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people realize very quickly into that pursuit, they were miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Because the living space really does affect your whole thing you got going on.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's so fundamental. Everything else you do while you're home is going to be influenced by your atmosphere, you know? And even when you're not home, just looking forward to where you get to go.
That's a big part of it. Because I was just going to say there are a lot of people, and there are still people like this. There are a lot of people that they don't care. They just, even if it's a hole in the wall, they want a place to sleep because their day, some people are up at 5 a.m., they're out by 6 a.m., and they're not back again until midnight.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't care. They love that lifestyle. And, you know, power to you. Do whatever you want to do. And those people don't really care what type of space they live in. As long as they can have a nice, comfy bed to sleep on.
I mean, I care. Like, and
I do too.
Maybe that's my own blind spot. Like
we spend a lot of time at home, though. Like I spend a lot of time here.
Not really, though. Not when I'm busy.
Well, now that you're working and you're teaching and everything, and you're going to school, that you're definitely a lot more busy. I mean, I work from home.
But you know, I mean, I have a decent enough schedule that I'm home on the weekends and you know, so I have time here for sure.
Right.
But even in the minimum, like on my busy weeks, like I so enjoy the space in the morning and at night.
Oh my God, the morning is the best. And here, it is so nice to be able to wake up, come upstairs, and people that are listening to this that don't live in New York City have no idea what we're talking about and why this is nice.
Yeah.
But it's just so nice. I mean, I can't describe it any other way. It's like when you like open up your blinds like to your backyard in the morning. Yeah. That's what us just coming upstairs is like.
Right.
It's
well,
like out of the dungeon.
Our bedrooms are downstairs.
Right. So. It's out of the dungeon and up into light. But like when you come and you sit down on the couch with a nice coffee and you're looking at a nice space, there's a reason we're paying a little bit more, but it's a nice reason. We enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think it has, you know, I don't know. I think it's a valid investment if it's going self-improvement, like authentic self-improvement, I think is a valid investment.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a great point too.
That's what I'm saying. And like I see the investment into a relatively or just a more expensive living space as an investment into self-improvement and like health, like overall health. I think that especially in New York, I've thought about this quite a bit actually, and I used to think about it all the time when we lived in another apartment deeper in Brooklyn. Was I just don't think that humans are like naturally supposed to live in the confines of these small New York apartments, and I think that it really fucks with people.
Well, I think that's just
realizing it.
That's a microcosm for the larger picture of people aren't supposed to live in these large cluster of cities. Like right on top of each other, like literally stacked on top of each other. Yeah,
and
like
then,
ants.
But then like they don't know each other.
Right.
It's
and
so
don't
weird.
Talk to each other.
Yeah, it's like you have how many other people living in your building? Sometimes thousands.
Right.
Literally in the high rises, and you might not know anyone.
Right.
That's really strange.
It's like having a neighborhood of ghosts around you. It's pretty. People think that New York is New York, is a great place, sure, but it's pretty lonely. As close together and as cramped in as we are, it gets a lonely city for sure. Probably one of the loneliest.
Yeah,
it's the hardest to like. You got a friend that lives uptown. Yeah, it's 4 miles away, but you got to travel 2.5 hours to get to him.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially in the winter.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I just think that trying to like, if you want to live in the city, then I think it's worth investing in like how can you just give yourself a healthy living space, because by default chances are you're going to find a pretty unhealthy space.
Yeah. I mean, you got to invest in, I guess, also other things that invoke healthiness too. Like one thing that I do, and this is how I justify it to myself, is okay, yeah, I'm going to spend an extra 79 cents on the organic broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, the organic broccoli is a little bit healthier. Same thing with I try to buy almost all organic stuff.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm like, yeah, okay, I might spend an extra $15 a week on groceries. But if I know that I have good healthy food at home, that'll deter me from wanting to eat out, because you have all this good stuff that's going to go bad. And I like you, and like we all should, I like feeding with my money, feeding things that are going to improve myself or improve an aspect of my life.
Right.
And why not? Well, this is at least the way I think about it. And sure, if you don't have the money for it, fine. But why not spend $2 more on the organic chicken than the regular chicken, and know that you're getting no antibiotic, like you know that you're getting good stuff. Hopefully, hopefully they're not fucking with you.
Yeah, it seems like the phrase like wasting money. It comes from spending money on things that have no self-improvement value.
Right.
It's just straight up like, I just went out and bought a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Mm-hmm.
That's a waste of money. Like you can argue like, no, it's like giving me but like at the end of the day, it's like, no, you kind of that's kind of just like throwing away money.
It's probably pretty easy for most people, let's say in New York, to throw away or to spend just frugally.
Yeah.
At least I'd say between $9 and $12 a day. Would you agree with that or no?
Yeah.
$9 and $12. Pretty easy, right?
It's
now think about the low end of that. $9 a day times 30 days. That's already $270 that you just shit out right out the back door.
Yeah.
That's a ton of money.
For that reason, I have on my Excel sheet just like a miscellaneous row.
Do you add in every time you buy something, you add into that sheet?
I don't.
It's hard.
Yeah. I don't think I need to do that because you can just track it on the card.
Mm-hmm.
But for that reason of just like, I know that I'm swiping and I'm inserting my card and like doing these things, and I know I'm forgetting about it.
Right.
Like when I'm doing my budget, I know I do that. So I'm just going to add this part in to compensate for that amount of money,
Yeah.
I always like, I do this. Like I won't freak out about money, but I'll think I'm in bad shape like 1 month for some reason, or like that I'm over budget or whatever. But it's because I give myself a really harsh budget to start with.
That's good.
Yeah. And I forget that I do that. And so then I'm always pleasantly surprised that I have more money than I actually
wow,
did.
I actually didn't spend as much.
Yeah, it happens to me pretty much every month. I go through the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, like, I have less money than I thought. And then like I actually add everything up and it's like, oh wait, no, that's just me tricking myself.
That's good. That's a really good thing to do.
Honestly, it's so funny because like it happens like on a monthly basis.
That's smart though.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents kind of used to do that with the time in their clock. A lot of people do this where they like set their time. Like,
it's exactly. It's the
same exact thing.
Right. It's like setting your clock 15 minutes early.
Right.
Yeah, I do the same.
Just because you know that you're gonna hit snooze.
Yeah.
You're gonna go a little bit past that, but that's okay.
And that feeling's great.
It's like a buffer period almost. Like you give yourself a little buffer area.
Yeah. To be honest, like it's just telling you, really what it is at the end of the day is telling yourself you make less money than you do.
Right.
And that way you're always pleasantly surprised by the amount of money you have.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, psychologically, I think that's good.
Do you think there's a reason why it's hard for specifically people in, I mean, we kind of already touched on it, but people in our generation, 20-somethings, to budget? Do you think that there's a specific reason for it, or just like a culmination of the time that we live in? And I've been trying to think about that this whole time, kind of back and forth, just like, why is it that we have such a problem with it?
Well,
compared
I think
to
that
other
it's
generations.
not all our fault. I think that
No, I don't think so either. We were dealt a shitty hand.
If I had to, right, and this isn't based on statistics or anything. This is kind of just me like thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that reflecting on everything we spoke of. So one of the first things I said is people are afraid to look at their bank accounts.
Yep.
And I think that's a direct result of the genuine financial circumstance that a lot of young people find themselves in these days, which is I have a ton of student loans and I'm not making that much money.
So, but like,
and they know that for the most part. And because of that, it's sort of just like, I think, a domino effect of like, of all of these things we've been talking about. So I know financially I'm sort of fucked at the moment, so I don't want to look at my bank account. However, not looking at my bank account is making it difficult for me to budget, right?
Right.
Now, on the other hand, I would imagine that the financial circumstance that a lot of these people find themselves in also leads to a lot of depression and anxiety, for sure, because money can be stressful. And so because of that, they're looking for cheap ways to mitigate those negative feelings, and they're probably spending a lot of money on things that they think will help, like clothes, like $500 shoes, like going out and getting drunk. And so their money is being dedicated to sort of compensate for the lacking of what financial stability would provide them with. Like if somebody was more financially stable, you might find yourself to be a little bit more content, and you might not feel the need to go and frivolously spend your funds on things to sort of make up for that lacking or that sadness that you're feeling. So I think like if you follow that line
like a
of
snowball effect.
That's what I'm saying. It's sort of like based on this circumstance, it's not surprising to me that people have bad spending habits. Now, outside of that, I think you can also accurately point out, like we already have, that for whatever reason, I don't know why, finance and budgeting is not really a thing that people our age were educated on. Right. At least the majority of people that I've spoken to. Right. And I think that does play a role in it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that like on top, so now you have all that stuff that I just described, like the snowball effect from just like the circumstance of entry level job pay rates and student loans and shit like that. And then you also just have a lack of education about how things work. Right. I don't know how many times I've had to explain to people like what an independent retirement account is or what like an index fund is. I feel like a broken record, Yeah. And even I had to learn that. I had to teach myself that. Yep. But, it's crazy. Like I was so surprised when I learned that myself, like what these things were like, oh, you don't just have to have your money in a savings account, right, or a checking account. You can put it elsewhere
to
that
make
it's
it
growing.
Make money.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
how does that
people
work?
Don't know these things.
People don't even know that you can do that. They don't know that interest is a thing, right? That you can accumulate money off of your money.
Just like they don't know that, people don't know how debt works. Right. Like they don't know how interest on their debt works.
I got screwed with that big time.
Yeah, they don't know how credit cards really work, where it's like they think if you make the minimum payment, it's fine. They don't realize that they're getting knocked every month, even if they, make the minimum payment on their cards. There are all these things that happen that I just feel like nobody ever told. Like there was no class like personal finance that was like, hey, just so you know, even though you make your monthly credit card payment, they're still going to knock you for interest. Right. Like, no, you don't even learn that. Right. Nobody tells you that.
No one tells you that.
And so it's like,
that
why
hit me
not?
so hard back in like 2013. See that? Now, I get that. I agree. But then on the flip side of it, we're the generation that touts themselves on being so knowledgeable about everything because we have everything at our fingertips and because we learn about everything at our fingertips all the time. We're constantly learning. And on top of that, we have our bank account right there. that we can, one, look at.
But you can't.
And two, learn from.
Yeah.
You can learn from your past transactions. Like, oh my goodness, I go to Dunkin' twice a day now. I didn't even realize I was doing that. You know, like people don't realize that they're spending that's now $6 a day on coffee.
Well, I would say that probably goes back to just like the overall state that people are in. It's like, because it's obvious that like if somebody wanted to learn, like I did, like you can go and do research and learn how to do these things and open these accounts.
Right. But why don't people want to learn? It's your money. It's, you know, and I get it. It's like a financial anxiety almost.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like necessarily like a want to learn. I think it's the lack thereof for that is just, I think, rooted in an overall lack of motivation to do anything outside of the job that they're already working. You know, it's like
they're already working.
I just see it all as like a web connected to like the overall like economic, socioeconomic place.
Well, it's like once you get out of college, now you're working 45, 50 hours a week, and are you going to come home and start researching what you can do with this little amount of money that you're getting, that you're putting towards college? I mean, that's another thing too.
Most people like baby boomers or older people, they have accountants for that.
Right.
And like, it's not like people have the money to hire an accountant.
Isn't it so crazy? I've thought about this recently. It's so crazy that the way that they experienced America and the way that they experienced finance and coming up and owning land, right? Like all will never happen for us.
Oh, it's nuts.
It will never happen for anyone after us ever.
It's so crazy to hear people talk about like their initial investments. Like I've heard my grandparents talk like, I bought my first house for $9,000 and I sold it for like $500,000 or something crazy. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's always like that.
Right.
It's always like I bought it for a nickel and then I sold it for like $1 million. It's always crazy.
It's like, all right, wow, thanks, that's awesome.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I literally don't know. There might be like a couple of random people on my news feed that own houses.
Yeah.
But then I don't know anyone.
And you don't even know that they own that house.
I have no idea.
They're like living in that house.
I would say almost everybody I know is renting something.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah.
To think about. I've never thought about that before.
We're never going to have that. There were points in time up until the 70s, I was reading this past week, up until the 70s, we were giving away land to people in the fucking Midwest. Just giving land. I forget what it's called. It's called like
I think they don't no, maybe not. I know they still have incentive programs to get people to live in certain areas.
In Alaska, like they have like they give you like $400 a month to live in Alaska or something like that. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Pretty cool. Yeah. But they were giving away land in the middle of America up until the 70s. And like I don't know.
I mean, land's still pretty cheap there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. There's nothing out there.
Yeah.
It's middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh, man. Things get weird in parts of America. I'm not saying things are weird. It's just like being from such a densely populated area, the Northeast.
Right.
When you start traveling around America, you're like, whoa. Things are so spread out.
You get like a little bit outside of a city.
Yeah.
You know, like an hour outside of a city, you're in, and you're not near another city, you're in like dead man's land.
Yeah, it's so strange how like.
It's funny because I really wanted to go. We talked about this on the episode with the band called Sad, but when I didn't get the American Idiot tour, one of the big things I really wanted to do, and I still want to do, is tour. Right, I want to travel around the country and everything. And I saw this meme the other day that made me crack up, made me a little bit happy about the situation and not getting it. Was that like, you think that tour is going to be this, and it's like all these flashing lights and everything, and then it's like tour is actually this, and it's just a McDonald's sign on a lone fucking road.
Yeah.
Because that's all America is.
Well,
it's
that's
just
kind
interstates.
Of like what road tripping is too. It's like, let's go on a road trip like across the country.
Right.
And like I've driven down the coast.
Yeah,
many times.
I-90 is not the nicest.
So ugly.
Yep.
Not ugly. I mean, there's parts of it that are pretty, but
it's the same thing over and over again, and there's nothing here, there, or in between.
Yeah.
It's just a whole bunch of nothing.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, back to budgeting. Do you want to pull it over to the Reddit segment, or do we want to wait on that?
Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up, and then we'll move over there.
Sweet.
So how to wrap this up? Well,
let's give, I guess, people that are struggling budgeting our own personal. If you could give advice, what would your advice be to someone that's struggling with their personal finance? The steps that you would take.
Okay, so first things first is you got to be honest with yourself.
Yep.
And you got to be brave enough to like do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know so many people, money makes them so anxious. And it's like, you got to be honest with yourself. It's going to be okay. Know the amount of money you have and know how much money you're spending each week. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helpful. 2, I would say you probably have more money than you think you have, in that, like I was saying before, your idea of what's expensive versus inexpensive might be inaccurate, which means, let's say you're eating out 3 times a week. You could cut that down to 2 times a week, make lunch one day, and be putting away like
$50 extra a month.
That, right, exactly. So like when you think about like small things like that, you probably have more money than you think you have.
Yep.
And you just need to do some, you have to reevaluate where these funds are being allocated. 3, get organized. Probably like make a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Write shit down. Thing. Think about it like we were saying, from like foundation up. Like, don't even think about the shit, like the stuff that, put down the stuff that you need to like actually survive,
like necessities,
and
essentials.
Then see how much money you have. Yeah.
Survival kit 101.
And I mean, maybe going back to just like being honest with yourself, it's like, really think about like, are you wasting money?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you wasting money on anything?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just being like really organized, being really honest with yourself, and just kind of being frugal in a way.
Yeah. You gotta kind of be
like putting
like
away the coins you find in your pocket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds like such like an old person thing, like an old man thing, but like literally, like I put the coins away, and at the end of the month, like I buy myself a meal.
Right.
Like, that's cool.
Right.
To me.
Yeah.
I know it's not to a lot of people, but.
No, but that saved you $12 out of your bank account that you would have spent.
And also research and reading, I think. I think that if you can find the time to do that, and
research and reading what?
For like different ways to invest your money.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
ways
huge.
To, instead of just like letting it just pour into your checking account on direct deposit, and you have one account.
Right.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like spending a month or so like reading and researching and finding different ways to like make the money that you have grow.
Yep.
You cut down that one meal a week, you get some money in an index fund, and now all of a sudden you have a savings account, like savings building.
Right. Right.
It's not that difficult.
No.
You just have to take the steps to do it. Yeah.
I like that. I like the organization thing. That's huge. Like, I've noticed with me the past like month, I've gotten super organized. I have a bunch of different spreadsheets going. I mean, I've always had spreadsheets, but I've got like all these notebooks going, and this new iPad that I got. It's totally, honestly, like reversed to the way that I was doing things, and it's great. So getting organized is huge. Yeah. Especially in terms of budgeting.
Also, make it fun. Like, I like to make it like a game.
Yeah. That's what I love about this iPad, is you can like be drawing all sorts of shit in here and like make it like pop out and look just nice. Like, and
you can even set like things. People could be like, oh, if I save $100 this month, I get to take like 15 of that and get myself a nice ass dinner. Or something. Like
you reward
you give yourself goals.
Right. Reward yourself with hitting
your
a goal.
Budgeting.
But the thing was with that is, on the flip side, then you have to not allow yourself to get that thing. If you don't hit that, like, you ain't getting Ben and Jerry's unless you hit that, right. And you got to kind of hold yourself to that.
It all goes back to just like being disciplined, being honest with yourself.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I want to touch on with how to, advice that I could give in terms of budgeting is, not that I'm good at it at all. Honestly.
Budget boss.
Budget boss Carl over here. Carl or Clark. I think I said Clark. Yeah, Clark. Budget boss Clark. BBC. No, is to put money away, but into like a hidden fund. Oh. So like one thing that I do is I have this, it's an app. It's called Digit, but it's like a hidden app. Like, I never go in it. I never touch it. But every time I think it's every time I swipe my card, or every day, it just pulls a little bit of money out of my bank account every day. And it doesn't like tell me. If I look at my bank statement, it will show it. But every day it'll pull out like 80 cents, $2.50.
What's it called? Digit?
Digit, yeah. But next thing I know, within a month, I've got $200 in this thing, and I had no idea. Like I wasn't even. It didn't.
How does you set the parameters of how much it?
Yeah,
takes
you
out?
say like I don't want you to ever go over this much amount per day, and it takes into account how much money you have in your account and how much money you're putting into your account. So let's say you haven't put money into your account for a month, it's gonna know that it's not. It's only
where does it go?
Into this app, Digit. It goes into a fund in that app, but you can withdraw from there whenever. It's like any other thing, if the app crashes and fails, then your money's fucking gone.
Really?
Yeah, if they go bankrupt, you're done. Like that
Seriously?
that money's gone. You can probably like figure out some sort of lawsuit, but your money's gone.
No, that can't be right.
Yeah.
No, you could probably they probably give you your money.
No, if they're bankrupt, if they go bankrupt, they ain't giving you anything. They don't have it.
How does that make any sense? What do they do with the money?
It goes into their app to feed their app and to fund their app. And if they go bankrupt and they don't have, like, they just don't have your money anymore.
I don't think so.
Yes, 100%. They say it on Acorns. They say that. They say, listen, if we go down, you don't get your money.
It's not insured?
No. I think up to a certain,
bad.
I think like after a certain point or something like that on Acorns, because it's investment, it's a little bit different. But I think Digit is like its whole separate thing. They're a good up and running company, so they're fine. They're not going bankrupt anytime soon.
That's really strange to me.
I promise you that is true.
I just don't understand how that can be true.
I put my well-budgeted money down on it.
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up after this, and we'll look it over. But I'm like 99% positive that if they go bankrupt,
well, I don't know about
gone.
Endorsing that one then.
What, Digit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should just set. Yeah, a lot of banks you can set it so that each.
You get a certain amount going to your savings or whatever like that. But then my problem with that is if you then go in, although I guess if you're someone that doesn't check your accounts anyway, you're never going to check it. But if you go in and you check your checking, you're always going to see how much money and then you're going to become obsessed over that savings account and how much my thing with this app, what I love so much about it is I will forget about it for 3-4 months at a time. And then I'll go in and it's like, whoa, I've got, $1,000. Holy shit.
That is cool.
I didn't realize I had that.
That is cool.
It's great. Yeah. It's really, really nice. Disbandaging the fact that it could go down and I could lose all my money. That's like the whole side thing. I don't think that's actually going to happen.
Like, I wonder how that. You can take your money out at any time.
Anytime. I can withdraw it. Anytime.
I don't understand that business plan. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't understand it either, but it works. They have ads, I think, so that might help.
Okay.
Fund their app a little bit. I'm not sure, but yeah.
All right then.
You lose it.
Yeah.
But so that's my advice: is to put money. It could be a piggy bank in the back of your closet, but put money into something that you're not going to check for a long time.
Yeah, right. It's like a coin jar. It's like anything like that. It's just like tossing money in somewhere.
Right, and then that's your fund if your electric bill becomes $627.
Actually, Keith, it's $672.
Oh, sorry, got the 2 and 7 little flip floppy.
I hope people are like, when they hear that number, listening to this, are equally as disgusted as I am.
You should all throw up.
Yeah.
Collectively, right now, I want vomit sounds.
Yeah.
From all of you. It's disgusting. For one bill.
That's not even our other bills.
We don't.
People.
We
that's
still
not
got
even Wi-Fi and gas. That's just electric.
Yep. It's gonna be a fun February. We're gonna turn that heat off.
So crazy. All right.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to our lovely new Reddit segment called Unpopular Opinion. That's the intro music right there. We're just gonna cut that. All right. So unpopular opinion. Bada boom. If you're on the live stream, wowza! It just came up. Look at that. All right. I don't even know which one. What'd you say?
I'm so tired. I'm like rubbing my eyes.
I was yawning earlier, so you're good. I'm tired too. It's been a long day. You had a very long day. All right. Do you want me to just kind of start going through them?
Yeah. Let's see what we got.
Let's see here. Everyone on here can kind of see this. They can't see what I'm scrolling through. This one, this one's fun, and I hate people that do this. So I'm gonna agree with this one before I even read it to you. If you go to a concert, hold your phone and try to record everything, you should really just go home instead.
Yeah, watch it on your fucking computer.
Dude, that shit is so funny because so you'll get to a concert and then like everyone is here to experience this live. Like when I go to a concert, I'm bouncing around. Like I'm loving it. I have such a good time at concerts. People probably hate me that are next to me because I have too good of a time. But they hate me because they'll stand there and they're just like, and you'll see a video, like if you look up a video on YouTube of people at a concert and there's like 30 cameras in the front, all taking the same shot, all with their heads down or heads right at the camera, not experiencing a thing. And they'll never watch that video again.
Yeah, I'm cool with people taking photos if they want. I'm cool with people taking little video clips.
Little snippets.
That's fine, but if you're filming the whole thing, go home.
Yeah. Go watch it on YouTube.
And bring it up on YouTube and save your money. Save your money. That's budgeting.
Save that money.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Budget boss.
You don't got to spend money on the drinks at the bar.
This is what we're talking about, blind spots, people. If you know you're going to go to the concert and just record the whole thing, don't go.
Don't go to the concert. All right, so that's that
also,
one.
like, no, don't do that. Like, think about, like, when somebody's standing behind you and they, like, really want to see the band and now all they can see is your stupid hands.
Right. I mean, I guess on the flip side,
you're never gonna watch that.
The flip side, though, as an artist, that's probably pretty nice to see everyone recording. You're like, oh, I'm probably gonna have like a few more YouTube
I would imagine
videos.
as an artist, you probably prefer people to be engaged with the act.
That's true.
Than just preferring. There's probably more energy to feed off of.
Yeah,
people are
it's
actually
kind of like
into
it's like a.
It might almost be kind of weird to just see like me, like a bunch of cameras on you.
Phone.
Yeah,
it's like that's. I mean, I guess you're only really there, right, as if you're a celebrity.
Also, I've recorded clips at concerts that I've seen, like 30-second clips of songs. Never watch them.
Never watch them.
Never watch them.
Eventually, they get deleted.
Yeah.
Within a few months.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to read that one, but I don't like it. And it's not even gross. It just is like, you're weird. Oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh, God. You ready for this?
Oh, I don't know. Is it appropriate?
Yo, get your gonads ready.
Gonads?
Your gonads.
Oh, no.
Because they're going to like this one. Swimming in jeans is one of the best feelings ever.
No, dude. This is totally the guy from last week with the wet bed. This is totally the same
loves
guy.
Wet garments and wet cloth. I'm going to see what it says. Hold on. Let's see if he's got a good description under there. When you swim in, okay, ready for this? When you swim in denim jeans, it's like you're an armored aquatic creature. Yo, this got to be the same guy. Armored aquatic creature. The way they feel on your legs, especially when you get out of the water, is amazing. Feeling them slowly dry on you under the hot sun is like a wearable sauna. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Depending on how baggy they are, they can feel really good around your ankles. I personally prefer swimming in baggy jeans, but skinnies work well too.
There's no way. Did they actually sign on and write this?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Took time. And then not only that, 22.7 thousand people voted for it, upvoted it, and then a nice buttload of people here commented and like gave their 2 cents.
Can you downvote it?
You can downvote it. Yep.
How many downvotes does that have?
I don't know if I can tell how many downvotes it has. This is like a new Reddit client that I got, so I don't know.
All right.
I can't
tell. Yeah, no, don't do that.
I think that's just how many points it has. So the plus the thumbs up added to the thumbs down. What's the middle ground there?
So
don't do that.
A few things. Where are you swimming in your jeans?
Yeah,
people aren't saying something to you.
Yeah, like where do you find that appropriate?
I guess it must be your own pool.
Yeah, but at whose pool? Your pool? It's got to be your pool.
It has to be your pool.
But if you're swimming in jeans, how do you make enough money to have your own pool? You definitely don't.
Also,
you're lying.
How did you figure that out?
Figure what out?
He must have gotten. He totally got somebody threw him in the pool when he was like a kid, when he was like 11 years old, like his older brother threw him in the pool.
He was like, it's
eh.
actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Or I was gonna say he started crying. He was like, he started crying, got out of the pool, and then he was like, actually, it kind of feels kind of nice with my jeans on like this.
It's kind of tight around my ass cheeks.
Ever since then, he has like a weird like jean fetish thing.
Oh no.
I don't know. That guy.
It's a weird one.
We should introduce him to the guy with the wet bed from last week.
We should have them on the podcast together.
Yeah, we should.
And talk about the benefits of wetness.
Moisture
in places where it shouldn't be wet.
It's so strange. People are so strange.
Let me see if I can filter
Just to do such a weird act like that and then be like, I need to share this with the world.
Right.
The world needs to know that. And then 22,000 people are like, yeah, man, yeah, that sounds good.
Let's see. What's the next one? Oh, let's see how you feel about this one, Grant. It might tee off your girlfriend when she listens. It might tee off my. Actually, no, it won't. She doesn't do this. But long fake nails, in my opinion, are not pretty or sexy.
Okay, so
you got the dirt on this?
Yeah, I got the scoop.
Lay it on me while I get my nails
based on a lot of research.
Yeah.
On my account.
Yep.
I agree.
You delve deep.
So here's the thing. I don't have very strong feelings about this. Like, I don't see the nails and I'm like, those are gross or like those aren't pretty. They're cool looking, I guess. My problem with them is so inconvenient for everything.
Well,
okay. Having to watch somebody type.
Oh, it's the worst.
With inch-long nails.
It's the worst.
It makes me want to smash my head through a glass window.
I'm like, how are you not ripping those things off of your fingers right now?
Well,
because every time,
here's what happens.
Listening to it.
They're typing, and their hands are out like this.
Yep.
Like they're flippers or something, because they have to position them in a certain way.
Yep.
And every time they start typing, they're like, H, and it hits the
it's like they only
4 because the nail's all the way an inch higher, and so all of their words are coming out as like weird. They look like, computer generated passwords, like or like weird Wi-Fi passwords. It's like, stop. All right, so
you know what they're also doing while they're doing that typing? Chewing like 5 pieces of gum at once.
Yeah. Oh. Definitely don't do both.
Definitely don't do both. You are.
But so yeah, I don't know. Like I respect people. Just so you know. No, I respect, like, if that's what you want to do with your hands, then do it. I'm just saying it's just making your life complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing it to appeal to, maybe some people like it. But if you're doing it to appeal to me, I don't care. I've always said that about girls or guys and their nails. Like, it's not something I have personally ever noticed. I don't know that. Like, I will say, like, I tell people sometimes when I do notice, which is infrequently, like if they have a nice color on their hands, I'll be like, oh, that's a nice color.
Yeah, that's fine. But
fine. It's not like sexual or attractive. I'm just like, oh, pretty color.
Isn't it so, like, girls do, and I guess guys do this too, but it's really the social structure that we've created that girls will do, and females in any species will do a lot of things to try and impress and get a mating conversation going. You know what I'm saying? And like the nails are totally one of those things.
We gotta go more into detail with this, Keith.
What do you mean? Do you understand what I'm saying, or no?
No.
I can kind of like, so like fingernails like that. Like it's like an attraction thing. You're trying to boost your attractiveness to the opposite sex.
Well, that's anything. That's like makeup, or that's like nice clothing. That's all signaling to the others.
But it's such a weird. We do it in such a weird way. I think because it's not like. Whereas with other species, it's more natural. Like there's a dance, or there's a call, or there's a.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, nails. Off the top of my head, I can't think of how, like, they would be sexualized, except for like, maybe scratching. Like, if scratching and, like, clinging on to somebody would be like some sort of like primitive like sexualization. But like high heels are to like extend.
Well, that's what I was.
And also like make your butt look nicer.
High heels is a big one because I know the reason I bring this up is because I know a couple that they're older, but the husband. At least I've heard this, and this is terrible if it's true, but I've heard this, is that he like makes or like not makes, but really wants his wife to walk around in high heels everywhere. So like I was at a park with these people, right? Like in like in the middle of a grassy area, bumps all over.
Wait, why?
Why was I in a park?
Yeah, with these
It was 4th of July.
Okay.
They were like with our group for 4th of July.
Okay.
And so we were all in the park and everything. But she showed up to the park in high heels.
That's insane.
And I'm like, the lengths that like a couple will go to like create this like mutual cohesiveness in terms of attractiveness. Like, you're really gonna do that just to make your guy make it? No, fuck that, girl. Stand up for yourself. No way.
I don't want.
No way.
If you look uncomfortable,
right,
that's unattractive to me.
Right.
Or it's like I just kind of feel bad for you. For anybody who's wearing something that's like uncomfortable.
Right.
Like,
and you're doing this just for like an impressionable factor.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean,
it's almost unimpressionable. It's almost like I want you to like. Honestly, I want you to be you. So whatever you is, do that.
Personally, I've never seen somebody wear high heels and haven't thought you look kind of silly. You kind of
the way they walk,
kind of giraffe.
Dude,
right
have
now.
You ever this statement? Have you ever tried walking in high heels?
I have.
Dude, it sucks, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it.
And that's kind of where my mind goes. I'm like, what kind of person do you have to be to do this to yourself?
Right.
Like,
it's a rough road.
It's kind of like Looney Tunes.
You're a little crazy.
Yeah.
You're a little crazy.
Guys do crazy stuff too.
Yeah, they do. They do. All right. Want to move on to another one?
Yeah.
Ooh. I want to delve into this little bad boy. Customers do not, all caps, owe you a tip if you're a shitty waiter / waitress.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, hold on. Let me say the whole statement.
Okay.
Don't jump my gun, Grant.
Sorry, I'm very opinionated.
I know. I'm so tired of seeing waitresses go on rants because they don't get tipped well sometimes. You chose this job. You knew what you were getting yourself into, and if you give me shitty service, I'm not tipping you shit. I'm not responsible for paying for your job choice. Well, okay. I was a waiter for a long time, so let me kind of speak to this for a second. First of all, regardless, they could be the worst waiter in the world. Don't tip them nothing. Okay? Don't be that guy. You want to make a point? Tip them 10 cents.
Okay.
Don't tip them nothing. Because you tip them nothing,
that's
they're
almost
just
worse.
Exactly. That's the point. Is like if they're going to be a shitty waiter, like I don't condone shitty waiters, but you giving them nothing further reinforces in their mind that, oh, that was just an asshole. Everyone I serve is assholes, and that's why I hate this job, and that's why I'm always going to be shitty. Is because everyone else is an asshole. I'm going to deflect this onto them. But if you give 10 cents, you thought about the tip. You said, that motherfucker doesn't deserve one, and then you're like, I'm going to give him 10 cents just to be an asshole. And in being an asshole, you're actually teaching him a nice little lesson there. Like, I would have given you a tip. I would have given you a good one. But you were a jerk, so I'm giving you 10 cents.
I would even this person who posted this is clearly very passionate about this topic for whatever reason.
I'm super passionate about this. I hate people that don't tip.
I would say, like, if you're not happy with a server and you don't want to tip, you should like write a note or something explaining why you're not tipping them.
Right. Another thing too, though, dude. This is what people don't understand that have never worked in service. If you're not tipping the server, fine. Like if they were a shitty person, like they were just totally unattentive, but your food came out on time, your drinks came out on time.
Well, that's true.
That server is tipping out a busboy and a bartender that is now not going to get any money.
For that reason, you should always tip because the tips they're not pooled, but they're split, and everybody gets a percentage of it. Yeah.
Right.
It's like it's not all the server. It's like it's a machine, and they're
which kind of gives that whole that aspect of it gives light to like tipping sucks because most people don't know that. Most people don't understand that.
I honestly kind of want like I was saying earlier, I was just in Portugal this morning, and there's no tipping in Europe. Right. Like it doesn't exist. It's just all included in their wage.
But they love that over there.
I don't know. I didn't have a conversation with anybody about it, but to me it seems way more convenient.
They don't complain about it.
Well, yeah. It's like, and also like, I don't know. Like I feel like that with tipping, there's too much ambiguity for like how your night could go or how your day could go. Like, because if you get one bad tip on a table that you put a lot of effort into, that could ruin your whole night. Now you're gonna. But if you just knew you were getting X amount for the evening, regardless,
right,
of, and a decent amount, not like the minimum wage for waiters in New York, like a decent sum of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there would be more consistency.
Right.
In the waiter's attitude.
But I love the argument. They're like, oh, if you did that, none of them would want to give exceptional service. It's like, that's how all of your jobs work.
Right.
All of your jobs work on a salary basis of like, I'm getting this money anyway. So who are you to say that they don't deserve that?
It's just like, the whole system of waiting. It's just like, we're just going to decide that these people don't need minimum wage.
Right.
Because they have tips. I don't know. It's very strange.
It is. It's
like, why are waiters like tipped? Like, why is that the occupation that has tips?
It's like a really direct customer service to where you have to spend a good amount of time with this person.
I guess, like, you're bringing food to people. I mean,
what they're doing is literally like, here, let me take extra good care of you, so hopefully you give me an extra few dollars. Like,
oh, dude, it's so sad.
That's
why, because I feel like the tipping is kind of demeaning in a way.
It is a little
whereas,
bit.
like, because you're trying to work for this person's money,
right?
Whereas, like, if you were just getting a wage from your place of employment,
right,
you're not trying to like
coddle this customer over this customer because they look a little bit more wealthy, or
right, like they're the hand that feeds you, kind of thing. And it's like, it would just feel like more of like a job, I think, if it was just a wage that came from the restaurant.
Yeah.
And you weren't dependent on the wild card of the customer.
Right. No, you wouldn't be dependent on it. I think you're right. I think it might actually make it a little bit better.
I think so.
I think
it would make it seem more legitimate.
Yeah. I liked getting, hundreds of dollars a night in tips sometimes, but I also hated getting $20 a night in tips sometimes.
Well, I'm saying like have at least a decent pay, and then people can still tip if they want.
Right.
If that was the case, oh my God!
If they had like a little bit less than minimum wage for servers, and then an option to tip, if they gave good service, you can tip 5%, 10%. People go home with an extra like $30, $40. I
think that would be the best
That'd
system.
Be great.
If like the rate at which tipping was considered appropriate fell, and their wage
went up. Yeah, not that you give it a tipping totally, but that you just diminish it and then lift up their wage.
Yeah.
Just counterbalance the two of them and see how that works. They work a lot better. People don't want to give an extra 20%. Think about the tag of 20% on top of an $80 bill. It's like, that's daunting.
Yeah.
But if you get an $80 bill and you get a 5% tag on top, that's nowhere near. I can do that. That's fine. It's like, what, like, $5?
Well, one thing I will say that she did say in that post about people like posting photos of like their tips at the end of the night and like a long paragraph. It's like, yeah, we know.
Oh, like people that like get like
I see that all the time with people that are servers. Like they take a photo of the receipt at the end of the night and they post like a 3-paragraph thing with it's like we get know. Like we know.
Yeah.
It's just got that, but that's not really.
Well, it's just old at this point.
That's not specific to waiting. It's just like one of those things where it's like they feel the need to share it with everybody, and it's just out of frustration.
What was me sort of thing. All right, let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. You'll agree with this one. I will too. If you still watch mainstream media, then you're a fucking retard.
Oh my gosh.
It says that.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
So we don't condone the use.
We don't condone. Listen, whatever it says, I'm not gonna blur it out on what I say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it says.
We'll substitute for idiot.
Idiot. Yes, you are an idiot.
So, okay. What is there more?
You want me to read the paragraph?
As long as it's not horrific.
I'm just like kind of. It says it one more time, so I won't say it again. But just, it kind of gives you a little bit of a gist of the people that go on Reddit when you hear the way that they talk. They're a little ridiculous. I'll read it and I'll see if it says anything else. I'll kind of jump over it. It says, I understand if someone sends you a link to CNN or Fox News and you read it because you're in the midst of a debate or you're cross-referencing every single source for a particular topic. However, if your way of, quote, getting news is just going to CNN.com or FoxNews.com and then calling it a day, you're a fucking You also shouldn't be allowed to vote. Shit.
All right.
You should have to take a test and prove that you at least know what the fuck politicians are talking about before you go to the polls. I don't mind that idea, but the problem is who's going to educate people on these sorts of things. You know,
Right.
Is that going to fall in the
Also,
education
does
system?
this guy offer any alternatives?
Right. It's just complaining. There's
Right.
no real
So
stance here.
yeah, Fox and CNN, not that great. CNN's gone really downhill the past couple of years.
It has, yep.
Yep. But so what does he say? Mainstream media? That's what he calls.
Yeah, basically he's just referencing CNN and Fox, but he says he says mainstream media.
So I think that there are some good mainstream media outlets. Like if you consider like the New York Times, like mainstream media, like there are a lot of articles that are like really well researched, and I don't know. Like I don't want to dismiss all. I don't know what he means by mainstream media. If he means CNN and Fox, like I'm more understanding of that. But there are some newspapers that are really good.
Well, look, we have this like now today this idea that like mainstream media, the term, is like a cult of people.
Yeah.
It's like all these journalists that are ganging up on a specific. That's not the case.
Right.
Journalists aren't banding together and like, trying to fake it's just not. All of these journalists that are with the New York Times and probably CNN and probably Fox News too, they're good, upstanding people that are trying to deliver the truth. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they get information wrong, or they jump the gun and they post something too soon without realizing all of the information. But they're good people trying to do the right thing.
I think I was just
they're also bad people.
To a podcast with the New York Times person I was telling you about today, and she was saying like how one thing the New York Times does that I guess a lot of other news media websites aren't doing as much these days is that they're going back and correcting themselves when they get information wrong.
That's important.
Yeah, one thing that she was talking about at length in the beginning of the show, and the discussion was about that. I'm sure you saw with the Native American guy and that kid who was, and apparently like, so the image or the short video was released, and
everyone jumped on it.
Yeah, and then like a day later, or even less than a day later, it came out like the full story of what happened
and the full video and everything.
And everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah." And
some people backtracked, some people, but literally,
some people doubled down.
Yeah, and now like literally, like this kid's life is ruined, basically.
Well, he got an interview on
but I understand that, but like he's receiving death threats.
Is he?
And
I didn't hear that.
Crazy stuff. Yeesh. There was even like apparently one kid who just looked like him from his town, whose family like couldn't leave their house because they thought it was him, and there were like mobs of people.
Oh my god!
Like there's crazy. It's insane. People just jump the gun, and I think the media is very it perpetuates that.
It's clickbaity.
And it's very ready for a story like that. It's like ready to pounce.
That's why they didn't wait for the full video to come out.
That's what I'm saying. It's ready to invoke something in people.
Right.
I think that
this was the next fire against the right, pretty much. That's what this was.
Yeah,
they saw
exactly.
this as, this is the next Charleston. This is the next ammunition.
So I feel this person, like a lot of the mainstream media has been really, really shitty recently. But I don't want to say all of it. No. I also don't know what is exactly under that title of mainstream media.
Right. Like, what are you talking
and
about?
Also, but
companies?
I think that if you make a statement like that, I'm going to lecture this person for a second. I think you need to offer alternatives. I don't think that you can just say like, if you still watch this, you're stupid. All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. What are you watching?
Right.
Where are you getting your information from?
Right. How do you deal with it?
Right. Like,
give us options.
Right. If you're just like, who knows? This person could be like, yeah, all mainstream media is dumb.
Dude,
get all my stuff on InfoWars.
Right.
Like something like that. Like that's something that somebody who watches InfoWars would say.
Right. I get what he's saying, but you're absolutely right. Like you got to be able to give an alternative. You got to be able to give your own insight other than what are you posting this for?
Otherwise,
but unfortunately, there's a lot of people on the internet that do just that. I don't have any solution, and but I'm just gonna tell you how much I hate your idea.
Right.
It's like,
it's
all
just,
right.
It's just generalization, and like it's, I don't know, with anything, it's just like, if you do this, you're an asshole.
Right.
And.
Right. Okay.
But what if I'm not?
Right.
And
what
I
if I'm
just
actually
like
good
doing that? Like, it's like if you own a gun, like you're responsible for all school shootings.
Right. It's like,
or you play a part in that. It's like,
not really.
That's
a big
I
stretch.
That equation doesn't quite add up to me.
No.
You know? And,
no. But it happens all the time.
But every time you make a crazy statement like that, you just alienate more and more people.
Yeah, more people don't want to listen to you. There are still the same people that have been around you from the beginning that are close-knit that will and perpetuate your thinking and make you believe that so many people are listening and hear you and are with you, but there's not that many people with you.
Yeah.
There's not that many.
You're very alone.
You're all alone.
That's why you're listening to this.
Yeah, really. All right. How many more do you want to do here?
Let's do one more.
One more?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I agree with this one, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'll just read it real quick. Orange Tic Tacs are the only good Tic Tacs. Yes or no?
I don't know.
You're a liar. It's true.
Okay.
They're the only good ones. Ooh, I like that one. Sex ed should include the dangers of a porn addiction.
Oh. I think that, yes.
That's a great...
not even porn addiction, just porn in general.
So this is what it says in the paragraph. Yes, porn in general,
yeah.
I remember in sex ed we learned about how having unprotected sex could give you STDs, and they even showed us pictures. I vividly remember them that being one of the many reasons why I don't have unprotected sex. Of course. And then he says, now I think a conversation about the bad effects of watching porn is very necessary. Talk about PIED, porn-induced ED. Oh, porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Possibility of eventually escalating to darker content. You become desensitized, abnormally low desire for a partner, porn-induced fetishes, etc. So I guess he's just saying...
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, I think that everything you just listed could definitely potentially be a consequence of watching porn. I think that porn, and even more broadly, just like sex in general, sex education is like really limited to like hygiene and like physical health and stuff like that.
Dude, it's so outdated, man. Sex ed is so outdated.
I can't even remember really what my class was like.
It was a joke. I remember it being a total and absolute...
Yeah, I mean, it's like diagrams and stuff, right? And it's like...
This is the penis.
Right.
It's got a little tube inside of it.
Right.
That's where you pee from.
Right.
These are your balls.
Yeah.
You know, and
these are your balls. Right here.
These
are
your
them.
Balls. If you're lucky. And then that's all it is. It's just they don't tell you anything. You know, they don't really explain... They don't really explain the consequences of unprotected sex in terms of, like, diseases. Like, did you... No, I don't really...
I remember learning about STDs.
Do you remember learning about specific ones and what they do?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Maybe we did, but I don't... It was so uninteresting, I don't remember it. And that seems like probably a pretty interesting topic for a 14-year-old.
Well, I think that sex education... like we're saying, needs a grand revolution.
Yeah, it needs to be totally
so revamped. Right now we have, the whole Me Too movement happening.
Mm-hmm.
For both guys and girls, I don't know, I don't know if this is even possible to teach in a class, but maybe making sex ed, in addition to including parts about porn, how porn works and how it affects the brain, like including something of like how guys and girls interact and like what's acceptable and unacceptable, and like I don't think we ever had a class like that. It was just assumed that your parents taught you,
like a life social skills class almost.
Yeah, like but
hey, this is what you
not?
Do around people of the opposite sex. Right. This is also what you don't do.
But
around
again,
people.
I don't know because I'm
no, but that's a great idea though.
But yeah, but I don't know how effective that would be if like
Well, it doesn't get taught anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I
don't know how you teach it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the only thing you could do is like explain it. I don't know how effective that would be. You could do like role playing situations.
Oh God, those cringy fucking college
and then
role playing.
In regards to porn, I think it's like such a big part of our society at this point. Like it's such like a weird like taboo thing.
Yeah, even though like it's not and it's talked about all the time.
I think
but it's still
because
taboo.
It's taboo, those are the negative side effects of it. Because people can't talk about it. And
that's kind of like anything, right?
Yeah, well, it's like kept under wraps, and so people are ashamed to talk about it, and it's like it's secretive and all this stuff, and so you might be experiencing some of like the negative side effects like this person listed, and you wouldn't even necessarily know or know what to do about it,
right?
And if you don't learn about it, you like I think that you might say you might start. The lack of like authentic sex education is I would imagine making people go to porn for genuine sex education. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
And that's bad because porn is not sex.
No, it's like
porn is a
fantasized
show. It's like it's like entertainment.
It's not real. It's not even real. The shit that they do on porn.
It's not what sex is like.
Right.
And if you are raising a generation of kids who now all have smartphones, they can just watch porn on their smartphones.
Right.
Who are watching this.
Newsflash to all you 35-year-old parents, your kid's watching porn.
But if they're watching this and thinking like, oh, this is how you have sex, that's not good.
No, it's not because they're never going to be happy in a relationship
they might not be for themselves, but also for, whoever they find themselves with.
Right.
Like that's not good.
That's dangerous.
That's dangerous and unhealthy and
ugh. Yeah.
No good. So yes, I think we should talk about porn. The benefits, the negatives,
right?
How to handle it,
We should be more open with kids to talk about, like you said, is when you silence these sorts of things.
Sex is the weirdest taboo to me. It's like I don't understand why it's taboo at all.
Right, it's like something that everyone here is a product of sex.
Right,
you're all products of it. So why are we not talking about it?
Leftover from like puritanical like Catholicism.
It's such a weird thing that we don't. We honestly though. Drugs are the same way. It's the same type of drug. People have been doing drugs for thousands and thousands of. I mean, animals do drugs.
Yeah, but sex to me is more natural.
It is more natural for sure. But I'm saying all of these things, like you can find a natural aspect in all of them.
Yeah.
So why are we so afraid to talk to each other, and to be able to, I'm sure there's so many people that have drug-related experiences or sex-related porn-related experiences that they would love to talk about that maybe have been nagging them, but nobody talks about it.
Porn-related experience.
I had this really bad experience, but you know what I'm saying, right? Just situations not porn-related. That's probably a bad way to put it, but sex-related.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't understand this. But since it's taboo, I can't even ask my parents.
Yeah.
Because I feel weird about asking them about this whole thing. And that shouldn't be a thing at all.
That's what taboos do.
Right.
And honestly, like these taboos probably lead to like a lot of really
mistakes.
Yeah, mistakes.
A lot of mistakes.
And just like damaging lifestyles.
Right.
If you can't talk to your guardians or your whoever you look up to about something, it's like, how are you ever going to get through that? You know?
Yeah. And kids can't. It sucks. All you kids out there.
So depressing.
All you kids out there that are listening to this podcast, it's definitely too old for you.
Yeah.
Go talk to your parents about sex. And that'll wrap up the 20-somethings layovers.
All right. Until next time.
Ladies and gents.
This has been
fun.
Budget Bosses on 20-somethings.
Yeah. I wish I had a pair of shades that I could just throw up over my
Budget Boss.
Signing out. Peace out, Cub Scouts.